Hi everyone. So after a long time, I have had some health issues for past 2 3 weeks. That's the reason we couldn't upload more videos before. But yeah, we'll continue our journey for LLMs and AI agents now, and I'll try to speed up and cover it up soon as possible. I'll just start off with a brief intro since there's been a break while we were connected and working on these. So just to start off my profile. So I have 13 years of experience. Right now I work as a freelance consulting entrepreneur. So I've also worked into uh, different corporate trainings and university trainings. So I do give university trainings also, and I have done corporate trainings for companies. I'm just covering this as part of like my course. I wanted to just teach for free for some time, and I just wanted to help people understand what AI is, how we are working on Gen AI, what are the LLM models. So try to leverage this opportunity. Generally, we charge, on corporate basis. I charge for the trainings, so it's just an opportunity. I thought I'll share with you the tutorials and try to share it the knowledge with you. I hope you guys benefit from it, and definitely reach out to me for any queries and questions. You have the account, you have the information, you can comment on the videos as well. So anything will work. So, let's start off, with a quick rewind. Okay, we covered outline, ML algorithms, applications, some AI definitions, domains in AI, how are they different, best practices and challenges. So data science, a combination of computer science, math, stats, and domains. Domain is basically industry knowledge which comes with experience. So you don't have to worry about it. It comes with time, comes with experience, and we grow with that experience in the industry. Life cycle. So anytime you develop a model or you solve a solution or a problem for a company, so you first identify them, identify the problem, then look at the data sources, identify data sources, perform some EDA, statistical analysis, implement and develop the model, communicate results, and then work on the tracking and monitoring or maintenance of the models. Then there is ML algorithms. So there are different algorithms which we had discussed last time. And these algorithms basically come under three categories of supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. There are more, but yeah, I would limit it to these three types because that's what we'll be covering majorly. Then I'll discuss this briefly. There's another slide for this. Uh, this is a difference between how we differentiate between deep learning, ML, and AI, because we often use these terms, but we don't really realize that machine learning is just a subset of AI. So if someone says AI, it covers everything. It also covers machine learning because we predict. There are predictive models we make for sales and forecasting and other stuff. Then there are some recommendation models we develop, uh, clustering, similar, identifying similar patterns. Then there are deep learning models. So deep learning models are all your CNN, RNN models, which require multi-layer processing. When you're dealing with loads of images, videos, you need deep learning models. And then comes the next thing where you have all in the one cap, which is AI. So everything is AI. Basically, the sense. So program basically can sense, react, reason, act, adapt to what you are saying. These are the options. Applications, autonomous vehicles, self-drive vehicles is a one thing big which is happening right now in different countries. Facial recognition, chatbots, virtual assistants. So agentic AI is nothing but basically kind of assistant chatbot you're getting. So that's what we have, right? Now, since we were discussing machine learning and different types of models or algorithms which we use, now these are three categories of supervised and supervised reinforcement. Supervised is for the label data, structured label data. So we divide it into a test and train sample. We develop the model on train sample, which is roughly 70 to 80%, and the rest of them is a holdout sample where we test and validate our model. Unsupervised is where we have an unlabeled data. What we do is we give the whole data to the model. We don't divide it into a train or test sample. We just give the whole model into the data, and we try to find similar patterns and identify what are the similarities between different APIs. And then that's what forwards to the next point. Reinforcement learning is where you train a model, you develop a model, and then you let it learn on its own. So, for example, the Chat GPT LLMs which we have all comes under reinforcement learning. What it does is to basically cover everything, and the model reiterates and keeps learning on its own growth as well. Anomaly detection is another big thing where we work on it, but we'll touch upon it later sometime if we do get time. Main we have to cover is reinforcement learning part, LLMs, Chat GPT, which we are covering right. These are some applications across industries what we are using. Then there are data science software platforms. So these are R, Python, etc. Other platforms as well, which you get in here. There are some clouds. So I don't know if you have used any clouds platforms or not, but AWS, Azure, Google, and then Databricks. These are some cloud platforms. So the benefit with cloud platforms is when you're running the system locally on R or Python or any other software, you're using up your system's RAM. You're using your system's memory for storage. But when you're using clouds, it gives you an immense power to use and function as per your requirement. You can process as much as data you want in cloud. You can increase your storage, increase your RAM, make it flexible depending on what you need. So that's the benefit of using them. Then there are database stuff like SQL, Python, etc. Data visualization is basically your dashboards and reports which we prepare visually. So generally this is for tracking and monitoring your business once the model is deployed and in development and implementation phase. So once you deploy it, you try to track and monitor. So once you track and monitor, that is where you need these visualizations like Tableau, Power BI, Google Analytics. Databricks also has another platform. So every service has one platform for visualization, which is very important because that's where you track your businesses. You understand, okay, what product or service might be important for us or might be a loss-making product or service to make it run off. So that's the kind of decisions you make. Traditional AI versus Gen AI is what we covered next. So there was automated insights, predictive modeling, NLP, etc. in traditional AI. Generative AI is where it's artificial intelligence capable of generating text images using generative models. So using unsupervised learning and generative models, you can do that easily in your data. What is generative AI? Generative AI is definitely it is able to produce text based on your input. So it generates content based on your data input. And AI is where it uses artificial intelligence to produce it using your prompts. So the input is a prompt. We cover that. Some advantages we covered in generative AI in research. So these are some options like Hugging Face, OpenAI very frequently used. You can use others as well. Uh, but yes, Hugging Face is one of the default options you get in Databricks also to use and create your models. So there are certain models which you can create by default, like text to image generators, and then there are different uses. So if you see topic, so you see the third one, topic clustering and trend identification. So you try to find similarities and trends on the data. Citation and referencing assistance, automated literature search. So these days, you've also seen we have recorders for meeting notes. They correct on its own. Okay, language translation, which happens. Plagiarism detection. So these are the things which have come up in Gen AI. But biasness and fairness. So we come, relatively we covered this. Then examples of the same intellectual property. So original work without license is a problem in big spaces. Now your property documents, your proper photos, your documents, these are all intellectual properties which should not be duplicated, which should not be fraudulent. So ethical, it raises legal and ethical questions basically. So you need to be careful around it when you're using it. Privacy, data privacy on your emails, photos, text messages, social media posts. So this is very important again. Misuse. Generative AI can be misused for malicious purposes, such as creating fake news or impersonating individuals, like fake images which you get. This is again the same thing. Now, what is a prompt? We covered what is a prompt. Prompt is nothing but basically an art of designing prompts to generate specific high quality response. Prompt engineering. So prompt is basically nothing but input which you have given, and you get an output from that prompt. So how you give an output, how you get the output is basically defined by the input which you give, which is the prompt. So it's very important for you to define what prompt you're trying to give, how you're trying to give. It will create an image or a video or text as per the prompt you have given. What is GPT? Generative pre-trained transformer. So as I told, it's a reinforcement learning pre-trained model which keeps learning on its own. Then there are different chat GPT versions, free, go, plus. So free, as the name suggests, it's not chargeable. Chat GPT go and plus are chargeable ones. Chat GPT plus has all the features mostly, and is slightly costlier compared to Chat GPT go. So this is kind of the pricing which they offer in India. It will vary from country to country and region to region. Then searching, what's the difference between searching on Google versus ChatGPT? Google is basically your search engine where you get all the website links and you get to scroll through them, whereas ChatGPT is somewhere it searches the web for information, and it gives you the data from there. So it will give you the text like Wikipedia. So Wikipedia will give you information about it, the topic which you are trying to learn. uh, Google search will give you all the links around it. That's a difference. There are some like ideas how you can generate a prompt and how you can deal with it. So I'll not go into details of this because you can do that easily. Then different role prompts. So provide an identity, ask GPT to answer an this identity. So this is one of the prompts. A few short prompts. Short prompts is nothing but basically uh, how your answers could be given. So more examples have been given before below, like description you have given as blue box that contains yellow circles with red borders. So it has created an image out of it. Chain of thought, where you're trying to calculate a mathematical problem. For example, you're trying to calculate, the direct answer is not direct, but basically it has to calculate or suggest. Then another example is customer segmentation analysis, where you ask questions. It has to analyze the data, study form analysis on it, summarizing it before it gives you the answers. So yeah, that's a brief part of what we covered previously. There were some technology trends we covered. Future of AI, which was shaped by Gen AI, involves some algorithms. Now these are some algorithms which we use uh, GAN, generative adversarial networks, variation autoencoders, VAE, transformer based models, NLP, and hyperpersonalization. Okay, so we use these different algorithms where we try to use the best optimal one for the business. So variation autoencoders, GAN, and transformer based models are very widely used these days. As you can see, I've also mentioned briefly what companies are using it. To just give you an example, then there are transformer based models which are also used in AI. NLP is definitely there because NLP is always required for the text processing. You have to text process those data. That's one thing. Then transform traditional methods versus transformers. Before transformers, it was RNN and LSTM. So these are some traditional methods which you were using before. Now this has transformed to a transformer model. So transformer model is nothing but basically it helps you compute and understand human language by paying attention to all words in sentence. So it breaks it down into vectors and try to analyze it. Encoder decoder architecture. So encoder reads and understands the input, decoder generates the output. So this is the main structure which we should remember. And transformers are different types like BERT, GPT, etc. And yeah, if you see this GPT-5 these days, so these models keep improving and changing with better versions. Accuracy also changes with better versions. What is LLM now? An LLM is a type of AI that has been trained on a massive amount of data text. So this is all text. Okay, it has been trained on massive amount of data available on web, which, as we discussed, it gives the data context to you. It gives you the definition about it. If you have asked a question, it will give you all the data present around it, text format or image format. But examples of LLM. What are the examples of LLM we are looking at? Llama, Gemini, GPT-5. So uh, most of you won't realize, but on social media, Gemini is taking over GPT-5. Uh, so it's a very competitive atmosphere right now for them. Parameters, again, these are some weights which we divide and we provide. So it's very important for the model to assess. Every input is embedded into vectors, and then vectors are analyzed through multiple weight matrices. So that's why parameters are very important. Sorry. So GenAI. So GenAI is essentially built on LLMs. While LLMs are underlying engine trained to predict and generate a language, GenAI refers to the broad suite of tools and systems. So as we discussed, GenAI is nothing but generating text based on the AI with the help of AI from the data. Some examples of GenAI are given below: text to speech, GitHub, Copilot. Tech stack. So before we saw algorithms, now these are some tech stacks which we can use while working on the GenAI or LLM models. So if you see, there are some apps like Jasper, GitHub, which are given for the user. Apart from that, when you are building the model, the GPT-5, GPT-3, you can use whatever GPT-4 is required. Model hubs, Hugging Face, OpenAI, LangChain, etc. So these are some packages which are available online to be used. Sorry, open source. It's actually early morning, so that's the reason I'm recording it before I leave for the day. Open source foundation models released as train weights. Cloud platforms, as I mentioned, Azure, Google, AWS, and other softwares. Ecosystem. So basically, this gives you the ability to understand which softwares you or platforms you can use if you are working on a certain category. Like if you're working on customer support, So you can use these softwares for customer support through ChatGPT platforms, vector search, image editing. You can use these platforms for the same and accordingly work on them. Like MLOps, Mosaic, Lattice Flow. These are the ones which you can use. Coming back, yeah. And then landscape of generative AI models. So it will give you a ultimate view of which companies are using what models. So that's again important. Use cases. So some applications again for GenAI. Defining a chatbot. You define it. How do you define a chatbot? You gather information, prepare the model, LLM model selection. So model selection is very important. You need to understand how to select the model. We'll cover it in a separate session today or tomorrow basically. But that's important to understand how do you select the model, which one to use. It could be iterative, it could be specific, but how do we use it is to understand very important. Training the chatbot, so any model you're training, then testing and refining. Uh, Okay, these are some terminology which we'll be discussing. So there are some terminologies which we discuss. Types of models, LLM terms, lifestyle stages, evaluations, architecture, LLM agents, RAG, etc. Uh, let's discuss the terms first. Completion. So output that is generated for a given prompt is called completion. So whenever your output is generated, that's called completion. Inference, process of model generating a completion for a given prompt, that is called tokens. Token is a unit text. So token is anything basically when you give a sentence like this, it divides your data into text and small tokens. Like here if you divide, it will remove the words which are not being used. So but like main words like token, unit text, word, character, and all non meaningful, redundant words will be removed when we work on NLP techniques to remove the stop word removal, etc. Parameters. So as we mentioned, parameters, the data parameters which you give are actually the model learners. So your model learns on those bases. So if you give a epoch or a learning rate in a deep learning model, that is how it tries to iterate and learn through the data. So similarly here basically there are some parameters in LLMs also which we need to consider and think about before we give it. Context video, every LLM and nature of architecture can process up to a maximum number of tokens. So context video is nothing but basically a maximum number of tokens which could be processed. Temperature is very important. So this is one of the parameters. Temperature is a parameter that controls the randomness in the output of the LLM. So high temperature makes output more diverse and creative. Low temperature make it more focused and deterministic. So if you want a more generic one, you should go for a high temperature. But if you want to be more specific, understand the same, to go for low temperatures. Top NP sampling. So LLMs have generated next to token generation models. This is done by selecting a token based on probability distribution. A top N sampling chooses a token from the top N higher probability. So you need to understand top P sampling chooses a token from the highest probability tokens, which is N. Hallucination, so incorrect, inaccurate data basically provided by the model, and that's what we call hallucination. Bias and toxicity, so it remains through unstructured data. If your model is not correct enough or accurate enough, it is bound to give you, a slight biasness and a favoritism. These are some common models from LLMs which you use. So just okay, yeah. So these are some models like Dolly, uh, T5, Bert, Bloom, GPT 3.5 is older now, but these are the ones which we are using. T5 and Bird is some of the major ones which you can use while working on the Databricks or any other platform. This is a slide from Databricks. So basically, these models are being used in Databricks. So you can always work on it. It's automated in a way, that you can go in the cloud, upload your data, select the model. So you don't need to write the code around it. You can just go there, select the model, give the parameters, and process your data to get the best results. So which model to use is another task, but yeah, we can do that. Okay. Now, how to get a model response? So I'll come to this. Basically, what we are trying to do is like uh, when you do a get an input, given a prompt, how do you make sure the prompt is good enough? How to make it better? So your prompt basically is very important because the output is generated on that. If it is not really very active, that is where you need to have a problem. Now ask the model not to make things up or assume. Then do not make things up if you do not know. Say I do not have information. So you can't really, it's not useful if you still give it, but yeah, ask the model not to assume a proper sensitive information, and then again the chain of thought reason. So these are different things which we have given as an input. Prompt formatting tips. So if you see, use delimiters to distinguish instruction and context. So you can use like pound sign, backticks, dash. So it will separate your data from the previous one. Ask the model to return the structured output. Provide a correct example. Good prompts reduce successful hacking attempts. Prompt hacking, exploiting LLM vulnerabilities by manipulating input. So, okay, so I'll just shift a bit. Uh, so what I had done previously was also showing you one dashboard, okay, one code which we had done as well in LLMs. So it was a customized PDF reader where you could answer only from those 100 ebooks which you have given as an input, right? So that is where you customize it. These are some data sources which we have used, and let me try and just go directly to what we were trying to answer. So prompt our entry to prompts. So I'll be using this direct because a lot of data was present which I could be make use of. So I'll use this directly from the downloaded PDF. uh, any questions at this point, please ask. What I'll do is I'll start off in the next slide on this. So we'll pause here and we'll connect in the next video. So any questions, please ask. Otherwise, yeah, you can always reach out to me over my email, or you can connect me on WhatsApp, like we have the group. Secondly, you can also message me. So anything suits. Okay. Thanks for your time. We'll continue this second video in a minute.